Hello, everyone. Welcome back. If uh, if any of you don't know, I said I would do part three when we hit 20 likes on part two. We did. That was a while ago, though. And then I
We were
basically, yeah,
a
I'm
little late. Oh
I'm gonna be
well.
real. This is the side quest. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I got stuck on side quests. This is the side quest.
No, this is the side
This is
quest
the side quest. This is the side quest. The
of all
other
side
stuff
quests.
is the real stuff. Like, yeah. So, hopefully, this video shouldn't take too long. I know, insert picture of 2 hours and 30 minutes of us discussing, you know? Uh,
But theoretically,
theoretically,
it shouldn't take that long.
theoretically, we should, yeah, it shouldn't take that long. So, basically, what happened last time? Well, Adam died like normal. Menagerie is most likely in a civil war. If not, the White Fang really kind of don't matter at this point because anything they do, they're not doing it in Atlas, which is where all of the characters are currently. On top of
So
that,
like you could pretend they don't exist for now.
pretty much. On top of that, character roster. We got Team Rwby, all of Team Rwby. We got all of Team Juniper, including Pyrrha, obviously, in this scenario. Then we also got Volume 9 Jaune, who has been outed to the team, basically is known to be Volume 9 Jaune or Jaune from the future. Then they got Crow, and that's it. That's the team. So,
They got a whole bunch of people.
yep. So, let's get into what happens. And they fly in, obviously, with most likely the Relic in tow, but there is a chance. Or wait, no. They did they lose? I'm pretty sure they had the relic.
Like we established that they. I thought we established that they lost them.
Yes, they lost the lamp, but the, would still go to Atlas.
Yeah, they would still be in that.
Most likely, just honestly, because Jaune would tell them to go there. He'd be like, "Hey, we need to go to Atlas and do this, this, and this." So they do have the relic. Or they don't have the relic. I cannot English. They don't have the relic, but they're still going to Atlas. When they get to Atlas, they see that everything is kind of in the same state it was originally. The only difference is Jaune says, "Hey, I have a great idea. We should just we should just like wander around for a little bit and not go out." So they wander around for a little bit, run into Pietro, right? Then they stay with Pietro for a little bit. Pietro finally calls Ironwood. So they don't have that like arrested, all that jazz. They just go talk to Iron.
By the Aesop's.
Yeah. And I honestly think that in this scenario, Jaune would most likely tell Rwby to tell Ironwood that Salem is immortal, except for maybe the Silver Eyes. Because he wouldn't want to repeat the same things as last time.
Conversation also being like on a better foot.
Yeah.
They're not being arrested first.
Yes. And Jaune would probably try to old Jaune would probably try to like keep the conversation nice and keep everyone relatively safe because he knows that Ironwood is very close to snapping. And once he snaps, everyone's kind of screwed. So,
yeah.
So essentially what kind of happens is with Ironwood's new knowledge, they would all probably still try to put out Amity Arena, but they would probably almost like research the Silver Eyes, which the problem with that is though, the only people who really know about Silver Eyes are Ozpin, who and Ozpin's not exactly the best at sharing information. Maria, who even she says that
probably
like
doesn't know too much.
Yeah, like she doesn't know the genetic compound of the Silver Eyes, which allows it to, create those attributes. And Crow, and no, Crow is not about to like be like, oh yes, actually, the way the silver eyes work is because the eyes vibrate at this frequency, which produces the magical components in the air to neutral. Like, no, Crow.
I was about to say Crow would just like make something up if you
Yeah.
asked him.
Like, Crow might make something up just to like I piss off Winter, or like
Just
try to
screw with Winter.
yeah, or to like make Ironwood feel
Also,
better because he can like.
off topic. They would have met Penny by this point again as well.
Oh yes, I when I said Pietro, I should have
Oh,
mentioned
yeah.
that. Yes, they run into Penny again. John's probably gonna. Old John is probably gonna get his PTSD attack because you know, he killed Penny, and now Penny is in front of him.
Yeah.
Now to be fair,
imagine how crazy that would be, though.
now
It's
to
just
be
like,
fair,
my past comes to haunt me.
yep. To be fair though, Team Rwby, as evident from Volume 9, are not great at handling people when they go into panic attacks. So John might just be off in the corner, and then like Pyrrha, Rwby, or maybe like Nora will walk over and like put their hand. They'll probably like put his hand on his shoulder and he'll be like, "I'm fine," and like walk away. Like that seems like a very thing to happen in the show, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously I think Ark or old John would probably try to reunite with Robin Hill. Not reunite as in he'd meet her again, but he'd definitely try to bring her closer to her side. He'd probably try to be more vocal towards Ironwood about doing things this, you know, you gotta do it this way. I'm literally from the future, like, dog, you need to, like, listen to me so we don't all die. Now, the question is, would he tell Ironwood about the whale and about Watts? Because last time, we said that Tyrion died, right? So, who's in Atlas? Well, it's Watts. And also,
to be Watts, but is there someone with Watts or is it just him?
I feel like Salem would probably still put them in a team of two. Because if you remember last time, Watts went to Atlas and infiltrated Atlas. Salem sent Tyrion with him to essentially help, right? So
theoretically, she sends Mercury with him?
Maybe Mercury, maybe Hazel, maybe someone of the sort.
Probably more. Honestly, it's probably more likely Hazel.
It's more likely Hazel. So essentially, Hazel. It honestly also would probably be easier to notice Hazel in a crowd, which might lead them to more. It might lead to them more likely getting caught, especially if, you know, John is like, "Hey, listen, Arthur Watts is in Atlas. You need to move now. You need to, you know." So there is a chance of them being caught, but at the same time, they've avoided the authorities for years now. Like, I think it said, like, Arthur Watts went missing, like, 10 years ago or so. So, he has not been spotted by any member of the authorities in 10 years. Like, he should be able to bob and weave his way around Mantle, which everyone, like, it is literally in lore that Mantle is broke and has shitty security. So, even if people go down there and track him, what are they gonna do? Ah, yes. Well, you see, I know we're walking past 27 homeless.
There's also like a good chance that they mentioned that they saw Arthur, and people just don't believe them.
Yeah, because the council even said, you want us to believe that Arthur Watts, a man who's been dead for 10 years, is like rigging the election, and they were like, yes, and they're like, oh, we don't believe you. So we're gonna go to Jock Schnee's manor. What a great idea.
We're going to go to evil businessman.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now, there is the possibility of, since John knows when Arthur Watts in the original timeline went to what's his name? Jock. Yeah. I almost forgot Jock's name. When Watts goes to Jock, there is a chance that older John goes, "Hey, Weiss, Winter, listen, what if you do this crazy thing called pretend to like your dad for exactly 2 hours, walk into your house, as the people who live in said house and go arrest Watts. And now here's the thing. Would they do that? Maybe. Would that work?
Probably. Probably. Would they do it? Yeah, probably not.
Like, the thing is, once again, that also requires so many things to go right. That requires Whitley to be the one to answer the door, and for Watts to not at all notice Winter or Weiss in the building, and for Watts to go into Jacques' office. Then Winter and Weiss would have to coordinate to get in there, and that is assuming that Watts doesn't have a backup plan to escape through like a secret tunnel or a window or something, right? So, to simply put, say it's most likely not going to happen, but at the same time, that might mean that Robin Hill does get elected. Because if Watts doesn't propose that to Jock because of one of those many, many things going wrong, or, you know, being odd or something of the sort, then Watts would have to know ahead of time and almost like tell Jacques that he is going to like become the like he wouldn't get access to the codes of the Heat 4 mantle, which are protected by a firewall which only council members can access. So if the Heat is still on, then the people also don't riot, and then that causes less of a problem, so the Grim invasion might not be that crazy. So honestly, I think literally what happens is almost nothing happens except the events of like the very end of 7, where Salem takes her giant whale and crashes it into Atlas. Like, straight up, I think...
Yeah, that might be the only thing that happens.
Like, I think Volume 7 kind of just doesn't happen. Because, like, okay, let's even say that Jacques wins the election, right? And Watts is like, hey, I rigged it for you. Here's the data proving it. If you don't do this, you're going to give me the codes. Well, John knows this ahead of time. So he could be like, hey, Ironwood, you should change the codes so council member don't have them, right? And like stuff like that. So essentially, basically everything that can happen is probably not going to happen. Like
at all.
Wait, what is Watts gonna do? Get the codes? Oh wait, codes have been changed.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, Robin Hill most likely wins because Watts probably doesn't sneak into the invasion. Now there is a chance that Hazel, like, I don't know, tries to blow a hole in the wall to let all the Grim in or something, and then Watts tries to go take down Amity Tower, in which case Ironwood does the same trap that he did in the original. So this time, Watts is captured. Hazel is there. He's running around in Atlas doing Hazel things. And that's about it. Like, that's all that's it. You know, like, there's no, oh, and then, you know, on top of that, with Ironwood already having information out, and Robin Hill most likely already having an established connection to them, Ironwood would be less likely to betray them because he doesn't feel betrayed. So it's kind of just like, oh, and now here's Salem, right? Like,
yeah.
Now, this is where we finally get into Volume 8. And this also kind of screws me over. Or screws us over, I'm sorry. But mostly screws me because I like lore. And I don't have an answer to this question. How do the Silver Eyes affect Salem?
That's an amazing question.
Yeah, see?
We do not have an answer to.
Well, because, like, look at all this right now, right? Salem has currently in her stash, Watts is in prison, so she's got Hazel, Neo, and this is pre-awakened to Neo, so this is, like, deadass, like, a Weiss-level fighter dog. Like, I'm sorry, it's not, like, yes, Neo's on the same level as, like, the Ace, but it's not that crazy. So, Salem has, right, Oliver Grimm stuff, Neo, Cinder, Emerald, Mercury. Because Watts is dead, or no, Watts is in prison, Tyrion's dead, Oh wait, no, there is Hazel as well. Is there anyone else?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure she would kill Leo. Like, even if she was low on manpower,
Leo.
I
I'm
don't
pretty
think.
sure Leo already died.
Yeah, yeah.
She already killed
Like,
Leo.
she probably already killed him in Volume 5 and had no use for him. Although she does have the Hound, so you could count that as another member, but still, like, that's not enough power compared to all of Atlas and the Aesops. So there is a high scenario where you have like, Old John leads a strike team with current John, Pyrrha, Team Rwby, Aesops, and Winter, all to infiltrate the whale and blow Salem up with Ruby's silver eyes. And then that's exactly why I was talking about the question. Do silver eyes work on Salem? Like, how much does it work? I'm guessing from what we see from the at least a little bit of Summer flashback, Summer was there and Raven was there. So most likely the silver eyes did at least do something, right? Like,
It's like if they at least did something, it would give a reason for Salem to want to hunt down the rest of the people who end up getting them.
yeah.
Because she's done that consistently.
Yeah. But then
so, like, they must have done something.
But the question is, like, what? Like, do they turn Salem human for, like, 2 minutes or something? And then, like, we just don't know. So this is one of the things where, like, essentially, we kind of have to, like, end this relatively quickly and relatively here. Because if we don't know what happens with the Silver Eye... Because let's be real. If the Silver Eyes are what affect Team Rwby... Or, sorry. If the Silver Eyes are what affects Salem, then Team Rwby is going to use that to their advantage. And Ironwood, seeing that, is going to use that to his advantage. And Ozpin, being basically put on the spot by Jaune, basically because Jaune is like, hey, you know that kinetic energy that you store in your staff that can blow up the whale? We're going to use that, and then we're going to blast Salem with the Silver Eyes. And that's the plan. If that works, like if the Silver Eyes work that way where they like turn Salem to stone, that's the end of this scenario. Like, Rwby ends at Volume 8. And, like, if we're being real...
But, like, we still don't know what they do to Salem, so I guess we kind of are just screwed until Volume 10 comes out.
Pretty much. Like, until we get that Summer Rose flashback, we're cooked. Because, like, what are we supposed to say, dog? Oh, like, and I guess we could go into the, like, scenario if the Silver Eyes, like, don't actually work. If that's the case and the Silver Eyes, like, don't work and they gotta find some other way, then Volume 8 kind of just happens anyway, where Ozpin blows up the whale, and then they basically say, oh, we have to evacuate Atlas, and they send everyone, except this time, Cinder...
Penny most likely survives this as well.
Yeah, Penny most likely survives. The Maiden powers are there, the staff most likely doesn't fall into the wrong hand, and this time... Hazel most likely doesn't switch teams either, or Emerald. So Salem would still have a decent chunk of fighters, but at the same time, Team Rwby also has all the Aesops, Winter, Ironwood, the Atlas military. Like, you know, it's a lot, to say the least. And so... if that happens and they turn it into another brawl because Cinder gets greedy and she wants to go kill Rwby and all that, and tries to do the same thing they did at the end of Volume 8, that's just not going to work. So...
he's getting jumped by like 15 people.
Pretty much, yeah. And then it, like, what ends up happening is literally just we skip Volume 9, which is kind of ironic because in the what if where Volume 9 happens the most, where Volume 9 is the most important in this what if is when we skip Volume 9.
Where it doesn't exist.
Like when Volume 9
like,
is at
most likely Volume 9 just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Which, what does that mean for our future Jaune then? Does he just cease to exist?
It's probably a time paradox. It's probably some weird, or who knows, maybe like old Jaune becomes like the villain and he like pushes young Jaune into the ever after. Just
nah, we are not on some Itachi timing. He is not Itachi.
Itachi. Old John becomes the villain and realizes what he must do. So he stabs Penny, throws her body into the Ever After, and throws all of Team Ruby plus John.
No, if he was truly evil, he would just stab both Pyrrha and Penny.
Oh my goodness.
He'd get rid of them both.
He erases Penny and Pyrrha to make current John become old John, so the timeline circle. The true time. Man. But yeah, honestly.
But yeah, no, this is what if Volume 9 just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and then so we get into like the, I guess, Ruby Beyond, like that era, where like they're kind of just in Vacuo and we're not at Volume 10 yet. Now, in the Ever After, basically nothing changes, except, like, and what I mean by nothing changes is that the Ever After is kind of in a perpetually balanced state. So, if no one falls in the Ever After, then...
But nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing changes in the Ever After. So it's in the exact... Yeah, the Ever After is in its exact same state pre-Volume 9, and it stays that way for all of eternity. So, yeah. Basically.
What the fuck happens? What happens to Neo, though? Or is she just cooked?
Neo's probably just
I
there.
Feel like she gets betrayed by Cinder, most likely.
She probably does. And, like, that could lead to Neo, like, falling in the Ever After.
But that should be the only one in there, so it's not important.
Yeah, and then it kind of becomes, like, can she make it back? And if she makes it back, then she kind of just becomes her own entity.
A different person.
Yeah. And, like, even if she comes back as still Neapolitan and wanting revenge on Ruby and all that, Neo, she can't ally herself with Cinder.
Because Cinder's most likely dead, because I wouldn't be surprised if old John kills her.
That's true. That's very true. And then on top of that, like, Neo can't ally herself with Cinder or Salem or any of them, because she's been betrayed by them before. So Neo by herself would have to try to get revenge, and that's just not going to work. So, straight up,
she gets jumped by, like, 10 people.
Yeah. So straight up, I think Neo just becomes, like, a irrelevant factor if she gets betrayed. Like, if Cinder does her whole, like, plan, right, and tries to get in, mostly what happens then is Cinder dies. And this is also kind of crazy. If Cinder dies, Cinder's going to be thinking about a certain silver-eyed warrior in her last moments. We know that. That's all.
We end up with the
yeah. So
end up with 2 maidens in Vacuo.
So in other words, we got Cinder as one maiden. Or sorry, Cinder dies. Ruby becomes a maiden. Then Penny's also a maiden, right? And Winter's still strong. So, like,
we end up with 2 maidens and Winter.
Yeah. And Winter, Crow, Ironwood, the Aesops. I think we said... Wait, no, Clover wouldn't die then, actually, because Tyrion's not around.
Yeah, because Tyrion's gone.
So
gets to survive all these...
So, bro, like, literally, this is, like, the easiest timeline ever for them. Like, out of, like, all the time, this, unironically, is, like, one of... Like, you know those, like, goofy timelines on YouTube where it's, like, Optimus Prime in, like, the Rwby universe or something? Like, this is this is unironically, like, this is, like, one of those timelines where, like, you add this one character who's, like, strong and knowledgeable enough that, like, enough dominoes fall where, like,
it's just like, all right, we have 2 maidens now.
2 maidens.
And all the Aesops. And
the relic.
Ironwood doesn't go insane.
Every Aesop, most likely a good portion of the Atlas military, like, everything just kind of goes their way. And we kind of just leave off Volume 9 with Ruby with the Fall Maiden powers, Penny with the Winter Maiden powers. Then we got Cinder most likely being dead because she was killed in, like, so her corpse is probably just in the Ever After. Neo probably fell into the Ever After, so she's kind of cooked and we don't gotta worry about her. So
he's probably stuck down there, just becoming a new person.
Yeah, so the only, like, bad people left are Emerald, Hazel, for the most part. Mercury, and Hazel. And even if you add the 2 people that Tyrion and Mercury busted out in the Volume 9, like, epilogue, that still only leaves like 7 people or 6 people. So, straight up, this is probably one of the easier timelines. Now, obviously, there will be problems with, like, so many people being dumped into, you know, uh, from Atlas to Vacuo. But at the same time, it's better than last time where it was like, oh, we lose like most of the Atlas fleet and all that. To be fair though, overall, I think ironically enough, the same amount of people die, because with all the stuff that's happening in a menagerie, after Salem blows up Atlas and all the people get evacuated, she would turn her attentions to probably either whatchamacallit, Mistral, which, like, Haven, right? And also then Menagerie. So essentially Vacuo would be kind of like the last remnants of humanity, ironically enough. So like the same amount of people
probably getting blown up off the planet.
Yeah. So like the same amount of people die. But like this way, at least they still have their guns.
And 2 maidens.
Yeah, and 2 maidens, and yeah. And you know what, they also, I think Penny would most likely keep her cybernetic body too, because there is no conceivable way that old Jaune would ever let Watts put a, yeah.
Either let Watts put the virus into Penny, or even lets Cinder actually stab Penny with a Grimar.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm sure he prevents that too.
Yeah. And that's this. Keep in mind, this is still technically the worst off timeline for, like, because we had to split this what if into 2. Because there was one where they just like lead a strike team and like just erase Salem with the silver eyes, and then that's just GG. They end at volume 8, or they end at volume 10 with so many people and so much cool stuff that like they kind of are just gonna win anyway.
That Salem was just cooked.
Yeah, or Salem might have to wait like another like 50 years just to wait for like Rwby to be like an old woman or something.
For all of Team Rwby to die.
Pretty much. So like genuinely, this what if just kind of,
even then Penny's still gonna be alive.
Yeah, because Penny's immortal with her robots, and also like I don't know, if that were to happen, then this would turn into like a Boruto, where like it's Rwby and Oscar's kid with the silver eyes, and Ozpin's like remnants of magic or something, like forming together into like one being. I'm not getting into that.
It would be a completely new Rwby show,
bro. I'm not looking forward to Rwby the next generation. Okay, I think we're just gonna leave it off there. But simply put, we end off good timeline. Easy timeline where Silver Eyes work properly. The show ends at volume 8. They turn Salem and probably Cinder to stone. They probably beat up Neo. I don't know. Emerald like cries in a corner while like Mercury gets dragged off the prison or something. I don't know. And then Hazel goes like, no, oh no, my ways were wrong. I'm so sad. And then I don't know, like blows himself up or something. Like. That's timeline 1. Second timeline is
theoretically Hazel joins the actual like side of Team Rwby somehow.
That is also possible. Or other timeline where they all try to do the volume 8 stuff, except Jaune's there and he's trying to keep relations between Ironwood, the Aesops, and Team Rwby as close-knit as he can. So in other words, Ironwood doesn't go evil, doesn't try to bomb a city. They just like pack up their stuff, get on the warships, and fly away to Vacuo after sending out their message. And then they just have the maiden powers because Cinder decides to be greedy again and jumps into the magic portal, only to be jumped by Old Jaune, the Aesops, Winter, Crow, Team Rwby, Penny, and guess what? Then Rwby gets the maiden powers, and considering she already tried to get the maiden powers from
Knowing how petty Cinder is, Rwby is 100% getting the maiden powers.
Yeah, and that's even considering the fact that like if Old Jaune has knowledge of like all this time, right? He could have already known that Cinder was gonna try to take the Winter maiden powers, so Cinder might have already died while trying to get the powers in Volume 7. Most likely that's not the case because with Titan security, most likely Cinder wouldn't have tried to do that. But even if she were to try now and Winter were to die, the powers would just get translated to Penny. So, in other words,
So either way, she's screwed.
yeah. So, basically, GG's. Like, it ends with Ironwood and what's his name, Theo, teaming up and basically running Vacuo together to try to close relations between Atlas and Vacuo and all that, with Team Rwby, all of Team Juniper, Oscar, Penny, Winter, like everyone's alive, everyone's decently happy. The Aesops might actually smile and not want to murder children. Like, bruh, we're just in the timeline where like everything is fine. So unless Cinder decides to play like the waiting game and like goes into hiding for like 75 years and like waits for them all to die, they kind of just win.
Salem's hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words,
if this timeline happens, Salem's going to lose.
yeah. So in other words, this is the goofy timeline. Although that should not be a surprise considering the literal opening statement was let's make Jaune the main character. So yeah. Anyway, that's all for now, folks. Yes, this is the end of part 3. You know what? I'll make a part 4 when volume 10 comes out. How about that, guys? Anyway,
we'll just remake part 3.
yeah, that's true. We should we'll remake part 3 and make part 4 when volume 10 comes out.
Part 3 once we actually know what the Still Rise do.
Yeah.
Because then that changes everything.
Yep. Anyway, that's all for now, folks. I would say, 20 more likes to get part, but that's not happening. So straight up, just like the video if you feel like it. Or if you liked our amazing commentary and 10 out of 10 plot synopsis of making stuff up as we go along. Anyway, that's all for now, folks. Goodbye.